Hello, good evening, and welcome to the FB4 podcast for this Sunday night. I am Gav. With me is Keith, Grizz, and Werner, nearly done, aka Matt. Tonight we are we've a lot to get through. We have the Timo Werner stuff. So when we were on our show the other night, this was kind of breaking a couple of hours beforehand, but it was a kind of immediate reaction. But more stuff has happened in the last couple of days, or more information or perceived information has happened. So we want to have a look at that. On top of that, we want to have a look at Klopp, FSG, because there's been a serious reaction to FSG as well. And then the most important bit, save to last, and that's winning the title when football returns in about 2 weeks' time. Lads, these are all very welcome. There's loads of people flying into the chat now, and I'd say there'll be more on this, I'd say, in the next hour to hour and a half. But I want to start off with Timo Werner. So the perception was over the last probably 6 months, probably a bit longer, that Timo Werner was very, very much on Liverpool's radar. Some journals said no, we killed interest. Some said it won't happen. Some said it will. And right up until Thursday, when a supposed deal with Chelsea had been agreed with Timo Werner, people still thought Timo Werner would be a Liverpool player, myself included. But I just want all your reaction to it. How you feel over it, what you think's gone down, what you think may happen in the coming days, weeks, or months. And Grizz, I'm going to come to you first. Where do you stand on this? Because whether you believed it was going to happen or not happen, are you surprised that Chelsea have struck a deal? Are you a bit weary of the supposed struck deal when you look at the comments from Leipzig? And you know, there's rumour there and there's link there, but for me, there's not a hell of a lot to solidify all that.
So my initial reaction was, I'd say the majority. Ray Dickhouse just said exactly what I said as soon as we came online. But anyway, sorry. Anyway, forget all that. But look,
that's all right.
I've got to focus back now. Yeah, so Gav, basically, look, my initial reaction was of surprise, because I, like you, believed it was going to happen at some stage, whether it's going to be sort of this season or the next season. I really thought we'd done a similar job to what we'd done with Keita and Virgil. And Ox to a certain degree as well, because I remember at the time Ox was destined or supposedly going to Chelsea. So, you know, I it seemed as though we had done the same thing in terms of Klopp's done the groundwork with the player himself. And then it's just a matter of the small matter of agreeing a deal with his club, which was the problem. It's since become very apparent that even though we were big fans of Werner, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we weren't ever interested in Werner now, because as some of the local media are intimating that, you know, there wasn't much interest. There was a lot of interest. Klopp doesn't speak to you 3 times if there's no interest. Do you know what I mean? So there was disappointment initially, because of the fact that Bundesliga was back on and everyone was watching only Werner and all the hype of the last few months. It seemed an amazing fit. The price, I mean, everything about him was an FSG signing. It screamed an FSG signing. You know, the release clause, everything. So from that aspect, there was definitely disappointment personally. But that disappointment kind of lasted, I'd say, about 5 to 6 hours, Gav. And when you take a back seat and see where we are, you know, from where we are and how they've operated, because you got to remember, this is how FSG operate. Whether we like it or not as fans, that's their business model, and it's brought us amazing success so far. So therefore, they have enough credit for us to carry on trusting them. You know, the golden team of, it's not just FSG, it's like Edwards, Gordon, Klopp. You know, the transfer has to be perfect for us to go for it. And I think that's the best way to go for it. So there was something about it that wasn't perfect. And so therefore we pulled out.
Okay. Keith, I don't think there's any doubt that there was a massive interest in Timo Werner. You know, now, there's a lot of publications and media out there that would clickbait you every day with Timo Werner updates with regards to Liverpool, because I don't think any team gets more clicks than Liverpool, to be quite honest with you. But when you look at the way this has gone down, and you know, like you have Matt Law from the Telegraph says that Timo Werner has agreed to deal with Chelsea, okay, and the following day you have, I suppose, Liverpool-based journalists or people that predominantly write about Liverpool coming out, and they've all the information about Zoom calls and they've information about this, that and the other. It doesn't add up to me, Keith, because if Liverpool were briefing the media, okay, at some stage to say, listen, this isn't happening, it could be for several reasons. It could be we just don't have the money, or we have our eye on something bigger and we can't do this alongside of something bigger that's become available. It doesn't make sense to me to brief them after the event. To me, if they're briefing, they should have had that out 48 hours in advance, because, listen, Liverpool, in my opinion, would know if Timo Werner was speaking to Chelsea, because they always know. All clubs know who everyone's speaking to in order to get the best deal for their client, i.e. the agent, letting every club know who's involved. It doesn't add up to me, Keith. Does it add up to you?
Now, the more I'm reading into it and looking at this, like, I think Liverpool sort of walked away from this a long time ago. I think I was sceptical about all that talk. I thought they were interested and they were playing a game about, you know, letting the release clause die a death, and you know, you listen to certain journalists and you take their word for it. But the more I'm looking at this now, I'm sort of, I think the journalists aren't we sort of know they're not getting much information now. They get the odd scrap, but they're not getting the information that they used to be getting. And I think there might have been a Zoom call with Timo Werner, but I reckon that was just Klopp saying to him, look, we're not going to be moving for you, move on. Like, I've made me peace with this one. To be honest, I'm not as upset maybe as the others are about this. It's the talk coming out is all coming from the Leipzig end, and it's going to be coming from the agent of Timo Werner. And I just don't think. I think if Liverpool wanted him, I said this the other night, if Liverpool wanted him, they'd sign him. They'd have him. There wouldn't be any. Chelsea could make any bid they want, but he'd be coming to Liverpool. So I just think Liverpool are, and I think they're taking a sensible approach this season. We all seen the comments by Klopp over the weekend about, you know, asking players to take a wage deferral or a wage cut and then spending 50 million on someone. Maybe that's what it's coming down to. You know, maybe it's all about optics.
It could be. It could be. Matt, we can kind of see by your name on screen as Werner nearly done. You've been adamant on this, whether it's been a bit of crack or not. But what's your stance on this? Do you think we walked away from it a long time ago? Do you think our position as interested has never changed, and this could be a ploy by Leipzig? Because I can't understand. I have a feeling Leipzig know they're not getting the 50-55 million when this clause expires. They'll get less. And do you feel like it could be a play from them to say, listen, a deal has been agreed and let's see if anybody else piles in behind and is willing to put that extra 15-20 million on top just to make sure it happens for them?
I'll answer both your questions there. The first one, I'm with Keith on this. I think we stepped away a long time ago. We don't be spending them type of wages and that type of money on a player that's not going to start next season. It's just not something Liverpool does. We've got the best front three in the world, and we've had that for a few seasons now. I can only see young talent or someone who's willing to deputise in any of them three positions coming in at any point. The second part of it with Leipzig trying to play a game, they'll know from the Kaiser deal that you don't be playing games with Liverpool, FSG or Edwards. So I don't think it's that at all. I generally think he'll go to Chelsea, and that's that. When the type of people who are reporting it on Twitter, like Matt Law and all them, are saying it's a done deal, then it's a done deal. We've just got to accept it. Now, missing out on Werner, he's an absolutely amazing player. Like we'd all love him, but a lot of the fantasizing about him is just because people on Twitter were told that we're going to get him. I mean, I mess around and put it on there, but no one should be taking me serious. I'm just some lad on
In
on
more
Twitter.
ways than one.
Exactly that. So this is what happens. We build up hope about a player that a lot of us haven't even already seen. All right, you might watch a bit of YouTube. I reckon he's about 10% of Twitter that actually watch the Bundesliga week in, week out, and they'll know what they're talking about, and that's about it. Everyone else just hears about this guy scoring goals, and yeah, he's a great player, but we don't look into the in-depth part of him and whether he'll suit us or not. Of course, we all love a big signing, but if you can't trust the current setup that we have in every single department, commercial,
you're never going to trust anything.
Scouting, Edwards with the football side, the Klopp, and Pep Linders and all this, we all idolised them, and then we slag them when they don't do what we want. If you can't trust them to make the right decision for this club, then
spot on.
Listen, lads, you're going to just be upset by every decision that they make. You might as well just sit back and enjoy the football, because you're never going to be happy.
Matt, do you know what? I genuinely think, if Minamino cost us 50 million in January, there wouldn't be this uproar now. It's just the fact that there's a lot of LFC fans that still in this day and age seem to think high fees equals guaranteed success or success, when it's never been the case, barring Alisson and VVD. But then again, Alisson and VVD prove what Keith said initially about if Klopp really wanted Werner in every sense. Now, I still don't accept that we didn't want Werner. But if Klopp wanted Werner at all costs, he would have got him. And Keita, VVD, and Alisson are examples of that.
The difference is Alisson was coming in to take care of a position which we were struggling in. VVD was, we knew we needed a centre-back for a long time, and VVD was plugging that hole. Werner's coming in to battle with three of the best in the world.
Yeah.
We can't be wasting. We're already the third or second highest paying on wages in the league anyway, because of the bonuses they get. We can't be paying $200,000 a week to someone, a young lad coming in, and then he might not even start every week.
Well,
As I said,
my argument
this isn't me making an excuse of not getting Werner. I do like him. What I've seen, I haven't seen loads of him, but I do like what I've seen of him.
I told you he's good, innit?
We're not gonna do that.
Dan couldn't agree more, which is owners have helped us get to where we are now. Why lose faith now? I think that's a very fair point. But I would say on Timo Werner, listen, I'm going to put it out there. I'm a massive supporter of FSG. I'm not going to beat around the bush on that. I'm a massive fan of them. What?
I can take him or leave him.
Yeah, no, I'm a massive fan of them for what they've done at the club, the way they run things. But I will say on the Timo Werner thing, my biggest thing on Timo Werner was, I'm not too bothered if he starts. I don't go in for all that. I go in for, can you improve your squad? I think he would have massively. I think that his flexibility and where he can play was a huge plus for me. He has the attributes you're looking for, but it was also some forward planning. And what I mean by that is you're looking at Mane, Salah, Firmino, right? And all around 28, approaching 29. We don't know how many years at their peak they have left. Plus, aside from that, you don't know if one or two of them could turn around in a year or two time and say, listen, I've won the Premier League with Liverpool, I've won the Champions League, I've won this, I've won that, I want to go and try something else.
All right, I need to jump in here because I think...
No, let him finish, man.
No, go on, Matt.
Because I forget, I've had a few beers. Us not getting Werner is guarantee that them lads have given commitment to Klopp. That's how I see it.
It could be that. It could absolutely be that. The other thing you could look at is that, all right, people are saying we haven't spent massive money over 2 summers. Well, it'd be 2 summers if we include this one. If nothing happens, I'm still not convinced that would be the case. But the club could be looking at it from another point and saying, well, look, do you know what? Do you remember we spent no money last year? And we don't really have to spend a lot this year, and we can actually get through this COVID problem in a way better position than a lot of teams. But it's a bit of luck that's thrown our way because we didn't do much last year, and now we can come out the other side of it with the best Liverpool side you've ever seen. Let's be honest about it. It's not like we're sitting here going, we're fucking 6th in the table and we might make Champions League and this fella wants to leave. We're in a brilliant position. But just on Timo Werner itself, I just think it is a missed opportunity. I do feel that. Having said that, I'm a bit with Grizz. After a couple of hours of reading it, I genuinely thought to myself, what the fuck am I doing here? Liverpool are about to win a title in 2 weeks, and I'm sitting worrying about fucking Timo Werner. I'm kind of going, like, go through the years where we thought we've missed great players. We'll never get them players, and we should have done this. And you look where we are now. It's just, for me, it's it is a bit of a shock because, look, regardless of how clued up you are on what people say in the media and what you can take as good and what you don't, you still kind of get that in the back of your head. You're still imagining Timo Werner in the Liverpool squad and what he can do. You know, the kind of way.
Matt hit it on the head. Go ahead, Chris. No, go ahead.
No, I mean, even though Keith and Matt saying that we walked away weeks ago or whatever, that may be the case, but I genuinely firmly believe, and I still believe, that if it wasn't for this pandemic, Werner would be a Liverpool player. In my mind, there's absolutely no doubt that we would have bought him if it wasn't for the financial restrictions, just the financial uncertainty. I mean, you know, we don't know. Look, and Klopp said in it, look, we can only, and the best person to go by is Jurgen Klopp, I think. And he literally said in an interview where he says, 6-7 weeks ago, we didn't know. Do you remember when all the null and void was at its peak? We didn't know if there was going to be a season. Completion even. Do you know, we didn't know. We didn't know when crowds were going to come back, what the Sky money was about, you know, etc., etc. So I do feel, yes, 6-7 weeks ago is possibly where we said to Timo in those chats between Jurgen, look, I love you and all that, mate, and we're German and all that, and we've got a bond and all that, mate, but I'm not sure, and my club is unsure if we can afford the buyout clause, you know, and if your club's going to accept our terms. And I think that's the turning point in Werner's head, because he fucking definitely didn't want to stay at his club anymore.
Yeah,
he got shafted by Bayern last season.
That's right.
That's the point where he thought, oh shit, if Leipzig don't accept our, you know, because Liverpool tried to negotiate a deal, we know we did, structured it, whatever, how we do it, you know, how we go about business. And that's not a criticism of FSG. That's the way they work, and they've done brilliantly. So who are we to argue?
But for me, generally, as a general rule for all fans, if you're seeing loads of stuff about a player linked to Liverpool on the internet, chances are we're not getting him. So move on. We operate in the dark. That's how we do it. So you might get the odd little thing. I think we knew a couple of weeks early on the Ox deal. The only big one was Van Dijk. Other than that, we're operating in the dark, and that's how we do it. If a agent does leak something, the chances are we won't go to that player. Just live down by them rules, and you'll be a much happier person.
Yeah. Like, I've no doubt that we were after Werner, right? That we were after Werner, but the COVID changed everything. But if we look at everything that, and Matt said this earlier about spending that money on a player that doesn't go into the first team, and I think that's key, because Klopp, everything Klopp has said since he's come to Liverpool, and everything FSG have said, if you look back, right, FSG have constantly said there's money there to spend if we feel the right player is there, and they've done it with Alisson and they've done it with Van Dijk. It's not FSG making the call; it's Klopp making the call. And people seem to think it's FSG, and they seem to think that FSG are holding Klopp back. They're not. Klopp makes these calls. If we don't sign anyone this summer, it's not because FSG will not give money for a player. It's that Klopp wants the squad that he has now, and he's happy to go with that. Klopp is not a gilly. Klopp's not a gilly who's going to accept that.
Keith, I'm not going to 100% agree with that, because they haven't proved to me that they will make signings or make investments without selling. But I'm not arguing against the problem
with that?
No,
what's
exactly.
The problem with that?
No. Exactly.
People seem to think, but people seem to say that, Chris, right? And this is not what you said, but in general, and they seem to make out it's a negative thing. Oh, it's a buy to sell. But that's a business model that they have, that they've put in place, and that has worked for them
and
since
it's working
day one.
Perfect. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, we're selling drops.
We need to set out. There's a big difference between wanting a player and being unhappy getting him, and then being FSG out. The FSG out lads, we need to forget
that.
They've made the best, and now they just
Gav, what I'm trying to say.
Listen, I'll let you finish.
every single bit of him, anything that happens, they will turn it against him. So they've made the bet.
Now, sod them, man. Forget them. They don't
The
want to
people
talk
that are
about.
unhappy, then you could be unhappy with a player. But this is how we operate. As Keith said, we're buy to sell, and
But I think
it's made us into the greatest team we've ever seen.
Yeah,
it is the greatest team. It is the greatest
Premier League
Liverpool
after
side.
30 years.
Gav, all I'm saying, Gav, just
three
quick point.
European
Hold on.
finals in 4 years? It's unbelievable.
Go on, Chris.
Just a quick point. What I was saying about Keith's point is, I agree that the business model they implemented and what they believe in has made what Matt's just said, right? All I was disagreeing with was it's not, if Klopp wants him, we get him. I don't think it works like that completely. It's a teamwork. It's Gordon, it's the owners, it's Edwards, and it has to be 100% agreement. So it's not if just, FSG hours are wankers. We know that. Forget that. Ignore them. But I also think it's naive to think it's just Klopp. If Klopp wants a player, we go get him. I don't think that's the case as well. I genuinely think Klopp wanted Werner, but he looked at the circumstances, discussed it with the rest of his board, team, owners, and decided that, okay, now's not the time to go for it. And that's how proper, level-headed businesses, successful businesses operate, in my opinion.
Well,
but do you feel that if they wanted, did you feel that if Klopp said, "Look, I really want Werner," he wouldn't have got him? Like that's what I mean. They would have given it, and Klopp.
I think so. I
agree with that. Yeah.
I think so. And you three pricks have just jumped ahead as always. Instead of just discussing what I asked you to discuss, you've just gone through the whole fucking show. We might as well kill it here.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Well, it is, Matt. He's had a few beers. He's changed location now. He's just trying to show us that he's more Windows than Andy Young. Still hasn't brushed his hair, but he can do what he likes. But listen, no, look, my biggest gripe out of all of this is the journalism in it all. Yeah. Genuine, and I said this the other day. I said this the other day to you, Grace. We were having a bit of a back and forth on WhatsApp. And my thing is, Matt Law breaks this, and that's fine, right? I'm still a bit weary over that, but that's just probably me being a Liverpool fan because I had it in my head about Timo Werner and stuff like that. But the stuff that came out from some journalists the next day was appalling, right? And
you mean Liverpool journalists? Or?
Liverpool journalists that write about Liverpool, right? For them to come out the next day after Matt Law breaks this, right? And people are saying, they're being briefed by the club, they write this big piece on this, that, and that. But they're coming out and they're saying, they pulled out in April. He had Zoom calls. He said this to him on Zoom calls. The Liverpool done this, Liverpool done that. Are you telling me that Liverpool only briefed them that day, one? And two, if they had this information at hand, they were going to wait until someone else agreed a deal. They would have been on it like a fucking light, breaking a massive story, going back in April, going, Liverpool are out of Timo Werner because A, B, C, D, and E, right? The reporting for me was appalling. And even reading the headlines from big media organisations and big journalists to turn and go, are you actually for fucking real? And I can only think of two reasons, or one reason probably. They all wrote this because they went, we knew fuck all about this. Now I have to make it look like I did, and cover myself a little bit. But look, that's just me. But as I said, Timo Werner, I think, is a fantastic player. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to anyone he goes to. Chelsea it's a big move for him. The talk is 200 grand a week, which is probably justifiable for Chelsea because they need someone like that. And people forget about Chelsea.
There, Gav. They need a position for him. They have
exactly. They have a position for him.
11 for him.
They have a need. They've sold players for big money over the last while in a transfer ban, so they probably have cash swashing around there that they can probably take 100 million quid gamble on something and still be affected as much by COVID as A, B or C, United, Liverpool or whatever. But for me, I kind of got over it then because I literally just had my eye on this title in 2 weeks' time. But the reaction, Matt, to it has been mind-blown to me. Absolutely mind-blown. I've seen people shout that they want FSG out. They feel that Klopp is being hamstrung by FSG. Klopp is not being backed by FSG. There's no money in the club. They're no good. It's literally like, and I hate to say this, it's literally like certain people want some sort of negative thing to happen in any way, so they can just vent something that is probably going back about 5 years when they were a little bit unsure and probably nailed their colours to a mast. Has the reaction surprised you, or have you just gone block because I'm not listening to this shit?
Well, I don't actually have a Twitter account at the moment. I've booted off again. But if I did, it wouldn't surprise
Sad times.
These are the people we need to ignore. They're the same people over and over again. They said the same thing last season, and now look at us. They said the same thing season before, and then we're European champions. They made their bed in 2014, and they're sticking to it. They're not big enough people to admit they were wrong, and they're sticking to it. That's the end of it. But go on. I'd say no. Just quickly, like it's the same for United fans. United fans suddenly think they're amazing because we haven't had good football. These cunts hide under a fucking rock all season, waiting for us to draw one game, then come out saying FSG out or miss out on one player. We haven't had football. We haven't been winning. We haven't won the title or anything yet. So they've just forgotten how good we are, and they're just going after the negative. They'll still be out there cheering at the end of the season. I fucking resent them for it, and I don't want them anywhere near the club. But they'll be out there cheering like the super fans when we win the league, and then they'll go as soon as the transfer window comes again. They'll be back on slagging the club. To these cunts, a transfer means more to them than a cup and a medal. Exactly. That's it. They just want to spend money. They want to spend money on Andy Carroll, on loads of shit like that. Just for the sake of spending money.
I'm going to have to stop you because I think you're spending.
Well, you've tried 8 times, Jordan. That
yeah, do you know why? Because I think we're giving the FSG out crowd way too much importance and debate and conversation. Honest to God, we've spent way too long on them already. And
I agree with Chris. Move on.
I genuinely mean that.
I hate these pricks.
It's absolute Mongos. What I would counter, forget the FSG outlaw. They haven't got a clue. So we're not going to mention them again. Please. I plead with you. All right. What I will say is the ones that are in the middle. So there is a lot of insecurity about our fan base as a whole. And rightly so. Because we've had so much fucking bad luck or lack of success, and we've been so close yet so far on so many seasons, right? Like literally 30 years of it, right? So, and now...
But Grizz, for the people who have been through all that shit, why can't you just enjoy this amazing time?
No, I get that.
Waiting that long for it.
Can I explain something? Can I explain something to you before we go on? Because let me explain something to you now, right? I'll tell you what's wrong with people that feel that FSG aren't doing a proper job at Liverpool, right? They are looking. No, I'll tell you what's happening. I'll put it to you this way, right? I would like to ask these people, would you rather Manchester United's owners in charge, right? And people say, well, they can spend what they want. They can't. Right, because if they could spend what they want, they would go out and spend 400 and 500 million every summer. All right, they're accruing massive debts as they go along, and plus their owners are taking money out of a club because they borrow on a loan. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, would you like Mike Ashley to be in charge of Liverpool, where he literally fucking sells the boy? Okay, he will sell 40, 50, 60 million and hand your manager 15 and go, that's all you're getting off it. All right, a little bit like FIFA. When you sell a player for 50, they'll give you 25 of it. All right, to sign. Okay, or would you like Man City? And this is what I think they want. They want Man City owners, right? They want fellas to come in and go, we're the biggest, we're the best, and the amount of money you spend determines how big a club you are. All right, that's not how it works. That's what they want. Okay, don't make any bones about this. That's what they want, and I'll tell you why. Because Amanda Staveley was rumoured to be talking or trying to talk to Liverpool with regards to a buyout of Liverpool Football Club, and without knowing who Amanda Staveley is, who she was representing, or what the plans were, they all wanted her. Why? Because she was back with somebody in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Okay. Gav, what I would say is, look. At the end of the day. And if this was a tweet, this would get hundreds of likes, right? But what I would say... I
wouldn't say it then, Grizz. I'd hold it.
Yeah, hold on. Hold fire, Grizz.
What I would say is we don't have the perfect owners, but in Edwards and Klopp and FSG, we have the perfect storm, the perfect combination. Yeah? And that's what's the main... And that's the main thing. That's all that counts. The output. Our output is amazing. How it's done... It is difficult for some sections of fan bases to accept, but so be it. Some don't understand the finances of it all. Some don't understand the complexities of sort of recruitment, chemistry in the squad, etc., etc. as you said, they just want shiny new toys at the start of every season, and that's all that counts. But we've created the perfect blend in every single way. Now, the only fear that's sort of justified in some, Gav, the only fear that's justified in some is we can't stand still. But there's answers for that question as well. So yes, we're so grateful for the owners. We're so grateful for them hiring Klopp. Edwards has been a master stroke, everything, and it's the perfect blend, which means you don't fucking get 100 points twice in a year, reach 2 Champions League if you're not special. We're special. Exactly. We get that. We're very special. But what some level-headed fans, and they have a right to say, forget the Mongos. I'm not talking about the Mongos. I'm talking about the level-headed fans that are question and say, look, we get all that, but we still need to capitalize while we're at the top. And that will and can still be answered. A, because the transfer window isn't open. And B, we don't know who plan B or A is for Werner.
Well, 3 things, right? Number 1, standing still would still get us 107 fucking points and European champions, whatever. So that's fine. Number 2, a lot of people underestimate what a season of training for players like Minamino, Keita, Harvey Elliott will do. So they're not standing still. They will come back a lot better players ready for next season. Yeah. Number 3. Gav,
sorry, I didn't know there was a number 3. Sorry.
Number 3 is it's not even the fucking transfer window yet. So how are we standing still?
Well, you see, that's the thing for me, because as soon as Timo Werner,
I said all that myself. But anyway.
as soon as Timo Werner is announced to have agreed to deal with Chelsea, and I will reiterate this, I have a feeling there's going to be a twist in this, but I'll leave that there, right? But as soon as that happens, what I seen was, oh, this is a disgrace, not spending money again, penny pinching again, and I'm kind of going, well, hold on, maybe. My overriding feeling on this is, and I could be way off the mark, right? But just judging the way they've done business before, I have a feeling that they have looked at Werner, player B and player C, and they've decided they'd love any of these 3. And I have a feeling that one that is a bit more expensive than Werner, there's been murmurings toward the club that this could happen. And I have a feeling they've decided, no, we're going to leave Werner because this player is coming along. You know, and Shawnee makes the point. Why would you can't sign massive players all the time and alienate all the players that you have there now. You know, and alienate them to what they've brought you. If we stand still, if we reduce ourselves by 10%, okay, we'll end up with 90 points next season. All right? Did we stand
still when we missed out on Fekir?
No,
because he was the Werner once summer. Yeah, and look at him now. Look at all the players that we missed out on and couldn't shout we're standing still. And look where they are now and look where we are.
Keith,
well, that's a great example of Fekir, because look at the players that we missed out on. Supposedly,
Keith had to get in the tan.
I've just said
sorry, I beg your pardon. No, I was going to give you. Sorry, I beg your pardon, Keith. Sorry.
Okay, Keith.
Yes,
I've seen a brilliant tweet. I've seen a brilliant tweet earlier from Nish from the LFC Couch podcast, and the tweet was basically he's seen people giving out about, you know, the Werners, blah 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 blah, the owners, blah 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 blah. And he has the question he always has when anything like this happens, and is, what would you like? Yeah. What would you like? What would you like in the owners? What would you like to go? Now, I've given my opinion on what I feel people that give out about the owners. Now, don't get me wrong. The owners have done some stuff that's mad, like £77 tickets, you know, the furlough of staff. And they've learned as they've gone. All right, and that everyone learns as they go on through their career. Yeah, and as Shawnee said earlier, that we're the best run football club in the world. Make no bones about it. Plus, that they are looking for us, and people would say they bought us for 300 million and they'll sell us for 1.5, and they're only in it for the money. But they will leave us as probably the best self-sufficient running club in the world. Okay,
and people lose sight of that.
But
many people
the reason they can sell us for 1.3 billion is because we're such a good club. So it's win-win for us and them.
We absolutely are. But Keith, Nish asked that question earlier, and I just thought that's a fantastic question. What do you feel? Like, what worries you if FSG left, or what would excite you if FSG come in? Because I find it hard to get excited over a Middle Eastern fella that comes in with billions and billions and billions, because I just think, right, you might spend loads of money, you might have a great time, but you will walk an absolute financial and club tightrope. What would excite you?
People are forgetting about the financial implications of getting in Middle East money. You know what I mean? we saw a few years back, it was Chinese investment was all over the place. And if you look at all the clubs that were bought by the Chinese investments, a lot of them are falling, of like Inter Milan, AC Milan, Valencia, Birmingham, loads of them that got the Chinese investment and the bubble burst. The same will happen with the Middle East money as well. Do you know what I mean? Like Shawnee's saying there, the club's valuation is over 2 billion. Like, bought for 300 million and valued at over 2 billion now. I mean, that's unbelievable going in 10 years from that club. But that's not from any one thing. That's because they fixed the whole thing, the whole top to bottom. New training ground, stadium increased without having to move to a soulless stadium. They even brought in the best manager possible, the best sort of recruitment team, the best everything, top to bottom. New Nike deal, everything. We've won European Cup, and they're going to win the Premier League. They made mistakes, but they've done well. In my opinion, they're the best owners you can have. I've seen a lot on Twitter about, people saying, oh, what about like fan ownership? Like Barcelona. But look at the state Barcelona are in. Barcelona are not in a good shakes at the moment. Bayern Munich in Germany are a very well-run club. They monopoly in Germany. What you can get in England is you're not going to get the, what was it? Steve Morgan tried to buy us a few years ago for buttons. We'd have been in the Scudder.
In his back pocket.
Yeah, we'd have been in the Scudder if he'd have bought us. You're not going to get that dream sort of local fan that has a construction company can buy it. So you're talking the top echelons here who can buy it. So you're looking at Middle East money. You're looking at oil oligarchs in Russia. You're looking at Chinese money or American investment. Now, of all the types of investment we could get, they're not taking a being out. They're just increasing the valuation of the club for when they eventually do sell it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't understand. I'm firmly an FSG fan, as much as you can be a fan of your owners, because ultimately I think it's the football team is what we really support, and the success on the pitch is what we all want to see. I mean, we're talking about FSG out and we're about to win the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? And people are losing.
But the funny thing is, but what I can't get my head around at times is, right, and like, we done 97 points last season. Now, don't get me wrong. When they took over in 2010, we were on all sorts of shite, right? Namely, Roy Hodgson. But we have that. We go through. We think we win the League Cup in 2012, don't we? And we kind of stutter on, and they're finding their feet, and like. They've made some bad decisions, they've made some good decisions. But as it's gone on, they've got better and better and better. And like, we're on a par with anybody commercially now. Yeah. Anybody commercially.
100%.
Okay. And it's not, but it's not as if you're sitting there going, oh, you need to get rid of this. Yeah, they put the value up on the club, but let's be honest with it, what are we doing? I'll tell you what we've done. We've 97 points last season in the European Cup. We've absolutely upended the league this year. Okay. Yeah. All right, we've gone out of the Champions League. But and while all this is going on, we've had the financial power of Chelsea, United, City, and we've put it up to all of them on this model. So it's not like this model can't compete. You know,
it's
the kind
like
of way,
and
they've done it. But they've done it in a way. They've done it in a way that's not as, I would argue, not as spectacular as a Manchester City, or probably not as spectacularly as Manchester United, even though they failed. They have spent a lot of money as well. So I genuinely, hand on heart. What?
I'd say it's more spectacular.
No, but what I mean was, it's not. No, what I mean by that is, Matt, it's not up in lights. People don't walk around going, oh, Liverpool done this. They look and go, oh, Man City just have all this money, and it's like a fear. Liverpool, they don't. People don't seem to, if you don't fear someone's spending power, their spending power isn't good. And Liverpool's spending power is quite good for me. And I genuinely, hand on heart, I fear the day FSG leave this club. For the simple reason is, if it's worth 2 billion quid, if it's worth 2 billion quid,
who's buying
this time next year, who's buying it? Who's putting 2 billion quid up and then saying to them, and it's now, do you know what? It's going to cost you another billion over the next 5 to 6 years as well. On top of that, there's only so many people can do that, and I'd be worried about who it would be.
Exactly. Yeah, but I like what Matt said earlier about a win-win, because I'm pro FSG, as you guys know, but you have to have some sort of in between as well. And look, they didn't buy us for the love of Liverpool. They didn't know about us.
Agreed.
They bought us for our name, our history, our standard in the game. And they knew that we're going cheap at the time because they're businessmen.
Exactly.
as
They
all
bought us as an
businessmen-
investment.
Yeah, investment. And with all investments, the more you look after it, the more you run it efficiently, and as a result become more successful, the more it grows. Now, I have my doubts if I'd be worried if they were gone, Gav. I wouldn't have doubts. I wouldn't be worried.
Oh, I'd be hugely worried.
That's you, no problem. I wouldn't. I'd be more worried about Klopp. The key factor for me in all of FSG's time is Jurgen Klopp, and but then again, they get the credit for that because
They
they
appointed him.
done the analysis, they had the foresight, they had the knowledge, the general knowledge to know that he's the best man for the job. Even though, devil's advocate here, even though Carlo Ancelotti was the first choice, and even though Carlo Ancelotti didn't believe in their business model, and that's why he said no to it. But fair enough, Jurgen Klopp knew what he was going into. Jurgen Klopp agreed with how it works, and as a result, it's the best combination in the world right now. That's what you could say. As the whole team,
You just know the fans of other clubs, especially like City,
Can I jump and
are
say,
so jealous of how we've done it, and you can tell because of the bitterness towards us. They know their
Inside.
title win is just it's pretty hollow, and you can see it from the celebrations that when they win the league. There's nothing there. It's hollow because people know they just bought it. We've done it with our own money, and we've done it the right way. The only problem,
and you can't overstate that
problems
enough.
people had at the beginning. Number one, they didn't have the patience. A lot of people could see what was happening and wheels were turning, but people wanted instant success, which is okay. People want that because of where we are, but you just need to have that patience with them. And number two, which is the biggest thing, I think, why people aren't as forthcoming with praise against FSG, is they don't understand how deep in the shit we actually were. Yeah. This is the biggest problem. If they knew, we were literally days from going bankrupt as a club.
Less than that.
If they could look at, and it's not just that, it's not just about the money, because they can come in and secure the money pretty quick and get over that hurdle. But we were rotten to the core of the club. We had no system set up. The scouting department, every single department was fighting with others, John Hicks and Gillette. You had the commercial side fighting with the football side. You didn't have a proper director of football. You didn't have a scouting setup. You didn't have any of this set up. So they had to go in and not only secure the club financially, which was probably their easiest thing to do, they had to sort the club out from top to fucking bottom. And they needed to get the fans back on side. They needed to sort the stadium out, which was a fucking mess. They had all the plans that we paid for the new stadium that never happened. All this shit, and they had to sort it out, and they've done it.
If that's the thing, if they had bought the club directly from Moores, would it be as much of an issue? I think a lot of people are still scarred from Hicks and Gillette. Do you know what I mean? You'd one set of American owners. We were brought over by them. And there was a huge sort of anti-American vibe going on as well, even when FSG bought it. And I think that's sort of been there for years.
And that resurfaces now. It does resurface.
Yeah.
Spot on, Keith.
Grizz, can you put this? Gav, can you put this comment up from Thomas Kennedy about FSG? He's not FSG out. He's saying he said here, for anyone who can't see it, the net spend he's not FSG out, but the net spend over the last few years doesn't look great. Why'd you give a shit?
I think it's fantastic.
Well, I will tell you.
Let me finish. The only thing that should look great is how we perform on the pitch. So
I think that looks great.
If the net spend doesn't look great, it's because we've invested in good players and made them better and sold them on at the right time at good money, so we can reinvest. If people are so hung up on that,
this is it. Matt's
sorry, he's just gone.
What he's just said there proves that net spend means fuck all. It means bollocks, because our net spend doesn't look great, and yet we're the greatest football team in the world.
And that's it. The net spend is one thing, but to be winning leagues and winning European Cups while having that low net spend, that's the perfect storm.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Net spend. If I could take one word out of the
but it's a sign.
It'd be net spend. 2 words.
That's 2 words.
But the fact
I'll give you my word, and we can go in together.
Yeah. Double up.
But the fact that I forgot his name. What was his name?
Thomas.
Thomas.
The fact that Thomas has said that is an example of why I said earlier. And I think it was before we started recording, or maybe in this conversation. I don't know, because we talk like this off air as well. But the fact that Minamino was, how much was he, Keith?
7.5.
7.5 million. Again, if Minamino was 50 million, I think people would be more excited and there'd be less tantrums being thrown about now if all our signings were 40, 50 million plus. Do you know what I mean? The fact that we sign gems, the fact that we develop players, including, we don't even need to go far back, and people keep bringing up Van Dijk and Alisson, but that's how, if we even analyze our star boys now, the likes of Mane, Salah, and we bought them for like 30 million, around the 35 million mark. Amazing business, and we don't even have to go that far back. It just shows the net spend compared to how much success we have, shows how well we run.
The only people throwing Van Dijk and Alisson at us are rival fans because they're jealous that we took a player which was worth 12 million and sold him for 140.
But the
business
funny
again, great business.
But
unbelievable.
This is the thing, right? While people go on about net spend, and I mean Liverpool fans and fans of other clubs, right? The thing about it is, if I took, I don't know, a car dealership tomorrow, right, and it was on its arse,
or a chicken shop,
or a chicken shop, or someone that's somewhere that sells deep fat fryers, right? If I took that tomorrow and it's on its arse, right, and in 5 years' time, say it was worth £500,000, and in 5 years' time I say to you, this is now worth £5 million, okay, but I've state-of-the-art fucking cars in here. I've the best line of cars. I have brilliant customers that come in back to me regularly. I've everything, done everything. You must have spent a fortune. No, not really. I done it on this budget. People would fucking laud you for it. In other lines of business, you will be lauded for this sort of thing. Exactly. Net spend, right, is just a way of showing how kind of reckless you are with your money. Okay, and what I mean by that is you look at Man City. I'm sure Man City are probably top of the net spend thing, right? They're probably top of it because, again, it's about spending power. It's not actually what you do with your money, it's how much you fucking spend, okay? Now, we could go down the line of being up there with Man City, or Manchester United are probably a better thing because they spend a shitload of money and look where they are. The net spend argument against Liverpool is actually null and void because Liverpool are now sitting, right, as European champions, are Premier League champions in all but name, okay, and have the best squad you've ever seen. And we're going to go, would people prefer if Liverpool had spent an extra 200 million quid on this squad just so you could say you spent it? It's all about, I spent this much and you only spent this much. It's absolutely off the fucking wall what goes on there.
If we take away that net spend list, right, that I think I WhatsApped in the morning, I found it now. If we take away the uniqueness of Man City and the richest owners in the world, right? If we take away them, right? If we look at the rest of the list, the higher they are, the more disastrous that club has been in recent times. So what does that say? The most desperate clubs, the most disorganized clubs like Everton, Arsenal, Brighton, West Ham, Bournemouth are on that list. All these teams are above us. Newcastle, Spurs, Crystal Palace, all have at least double our net spend, right? And
Adam reckons that Villa as well. And look, can I read a couple of comments out because I can't put them all on the screen, right? I'll go in order, right? And it's Shawnee Lawson, right? And it's a brilliant point with regards to Manchester United. Right? He said the first one he says was Sanchez on a free signing, okay, but destroyed the club structure. De Gea ends up on 330 grand a week as a result. But they bought Bruno Fernandes, so it's all good. This is what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
That's what I'm. Shawnee's fucking amazing, isn't he? He's gorgeous. He's so fucking good looking. It's untrue. It's actually appalling. How he actually agrees to come on screen with any of us is. It's a testament.
See, that's an old trick that is because the uglier they are, coach
mates are
the better you are, you know.
Yeah, 100%. But look,
Gav. You right, Gav?
Look about net spend, and that's absolutely fine.
I'm sorry, you cut out. I thought you went off for a little wanky.
Oh, sorry. No, I'll do that later. Every Sunday night around 11:30, when he sends me the pictures. But the net spend thing for me, you need to stop looking at that. You would start looking at it if, for argument's sake, Liverpool were selling all these players, right, and we're in a minus figure, where you go, literally, they are sold 200 million and the net spend is minus 100 million and they're
disagree,
Gav.
Yeah,
You would, man.
If we're in the same position we are now as being European champions, 3 European finals in 4 years or whatever, and we're about to blow the fucking the back doors off the league, you don't look at it. You only start looking at that shit when you're not performing on the pitch.
This is what I'm saying.
Net spend only came in as a weapon by Rafa to use when he was in charge and he wasn't getting the money and he was having to work miracles with small transfer.
Had his own narrative,
and that's how
had his own
net
agenda.
spend came in to the lexicon, and it's stayed ever since. And it's an absolutely pointless fucking. We weren't, he was trying to turn blade and shit Sambos into fillet steaks back then, and he wasn't able to do it, but he was using that as a weapon. That's not the way it is now. To be so low on the net spend league and to be successful as we are, that is an absolute fucking top. We should be singing that from the roof.
We could sell it. We could sell players for half of what we did and be up in the net spend league, and we'll be in a worse position.
But this is what I'm saying. My only argument against net spend or for net spend would be if we sold Philippe Coutinho for 142 million and throw in, I don't know, sell Salah for 150 for argument's sake. So you're looking at 290 million, and Liverpool replace them with 40 million pounds worth of players, right? So now you're saying you're 200 million in the minus 200 million in the net spend, okay? If that's all you do over a year, right? And you're 8th or you're 10th, then you have every argument to go, listen, lads, we're selling all these players. A bit like Mike Ashley. You know that kind of way.
Exactly.
Unless you get to Mike Ashley levels of fucking stupidity, right? When it comes to football, team ownership, relax. It's all fine. But listen,
just very quickly. Barry Carr's just said there, net spend gets you Champions League finals. Fact.
I think he's messing.
Good. I hope he is, because I was about to say, tell that to Man City fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
But the fact, look, we've spoken so positively, and I agree with everything that's been said. But what I will say is, I can't remember.
That was a good point.
That's amazing.
I sensed
and that is the end of the show.
It's because of Matt. He fucking brought in.
Kieran Thorne says there's 74 people in the chat on YouTube. There's 300 people watching on Periscope. If you're on the chat, get liking and sharing. It's been a cracking show tonight. I've really enjoyed it. I knew it'd go off, but it's been really, really good.
Sorry,
we're not finished yet either.
I've remembered, Kevin.
And I've something special for you. We've something very special for you at the end, which I'm not going to tell you. Go on.
Back to Grizz. Grizz is on to something.
No, Keith.
Grizz is remembered.
No, Keith. To make it a fair debate, right? You got to say the other side, and I'm not talking about again the Mongols. I'm talking about the fair, rational, level-headed people, right? The in between, right? The in-betweeners, right? Pardon the pun. But this business model, this working model, has got us this far, and it's amazing. Is it 4 years, Matt?
We've already said this. What's your point?
I'm coming to it. If you just give me about 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Now, a lot of people will say, right, Jurgen Klopp hasn't been involved in a rebuild of a team. Neither have FSG. The litmus test, remember that? Remember the litmus test? The litmus test will come now when we will have to invest. The owners will have to take slightly more risks than they had to rebuild this team and to go the second phase, because the second phase is the second rebuilding of the team.
He took over a team that needed rebuilding. What the fuck are you on about?
Yeah.
No, but he hasn't been. But he's
in
no,
one
he's,
go.
He took over a team with Balotelli and Benteke up front.
Matt, he's built a team. I'm talking about building the same team again. He's built a team.
He built a winning team from a shit team, but can he build another winning team from a winning team?
He's built a winning. He's built a winning team at every single club he's been to. You're mental if you think he hasn't done that.
He hasn't rebuilt that team. He didn't do it at Mainz. He didn't do it at Dortmund.
I think he done it at Dortmund. I think he done it. He had a team when he went in there, and then he had players won the league and then got them back.
Like
Lewandowski went and he got Aubameyang. Loads of people moved on and he replaced.
But I think mostly the key to what Klopp has done is it's been a slow and steady progress.
Yeah. I can't believe he waited that long for Grizz to make such a shite point.
Great
I
point.
don't even think that was Grizz talking. I think that might be in the spirit of someone else, and I'm
Great
gonna
point.
let him go on that. But
Only Keith understood it.
I don't think he did, but he's going to give you the thumbs up anyway, right?
Give it a thumbs up, yeah.
But the slow and steady progress he's made has made a really smooth transition to what he's got to. You know, and what I mean by that is instead of walking in and going, them A players need to go, and I need these A players here. You know, it very rarely works. I think maybe Mourinho was probably the only one to do it around 2004 when he just signed loads of lads. But they were all brilliant, and he got them going. But the slow and steady progress under Klopp and in coinciding with FSG has been really good for Liverpool because it's kept and built in an identity with this side as it's gone on. You know, we know what he was trying from the start. You could see it growing and growing and growing all the time. And then all this rock and roll football and all, that's all disappeared. He's tactically so adept in what he's doing, regardless of who he's playing, where he's playing him, and what players he has at his disposal. It's been brilliant. Listen, we'd all love to go in and go sign Mbappe, Messi, and such and such next, but it's closest to guaranteed success as you possibly get. But at the same time, you have to look back at what Klopp's done and gone. He's just picked and picked and picked until he's got what he wanted and what he's needed. And it hasn't been because he's being hamstrung by FSG. It's because they've worked together.
Exactly.
You know, Michael Edwards should get a massive mention in this because, you know, he was slagged off as being part of this transfer committee because they named it. That was a massive mistake they made under Rodgers. But look at him now. You know, they're talking about building statues for him.
But if we look back at Klopp, right, has there been any instances of him bad mouthing or being snide about FSG or the ownership or restrictions that he's being placed on or anything about transfers? Not once. Now we know managers can do that.
That's a great point, Keith.
We've seen that with Rodgers, and you never hear it with Klopp. People have to understand, Klopp is running the club the way Klopp wants to run the club. If you look back at his first interviews with Liverpool, he said, not his first one maybe, but early doors, he said he'd rather promote players from the youth team every season than buy players. Right?
He said it. That's his
He said that early
right,
on, and he'd rather that than spend money on players for the sake of it. When that's now happening, people are losing their shit and saying, FSG are denying him the money, and Klopp will walk out on this. Klopp signed a new contract to work on that.
It's almost, Keith, people have forgotten that they begged for this man, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, all the hipsters wanted Jurgen Klopp, the next best thing in Europe, etc. And without studying his methods and how he operates and how he works. And even though he came to us, and as you said, in many interviews, he said, I don't believe in buying to get out of trouble or fixing an issue. He said, I don't necessarily believe in that. But yet we've lost trust in him, saying that we don't believe him now. It's a mad way of thinking. The man literally said every season, I don't believe in buying our way out of trouble. I believe in coaching, persevering, creating chemistry in a squad, in a play, and the spirit and everything. And everything's falling into place, yet still we've got doubts. In certain sections.
Right, listen, I want to get on to the most important thing of tonight. Not Timo Werner, not FSG, not Jurgen Klopp, not transfer windows. It's winning the league, and that should be, in my opinion, your only outlook at this stage. You know, forget financial reports, COVID-19, how it's going to affect you, when will you be back in the ground, all that sort of stuff. Winning the league is the most important thing that you've probably ever had as a Liverpool fan. I know it is. Winning this league is right up there with anything I've ever wanted as a Liverpool fan and waited so long for. Grizz is just pissed off. I think he believes that winning the league isn't that important. He's gone mad. He is that he said something earlier that he should have actually tweeted. And listen, he might tweet it later. And if he does tweet it later, listen, show him some support.
I think he's just realised how shit that last point was.
Remember when while he's gone, lads, while he's gone, right? Did you see what he said though? Listen, let me make a point, and then he forgot. Wasn't that amazing?
yeah, wonderful.
It was absolutely amazing.
What a time to do.
I think he's after leaving the immersion on, or he's plugged out the freezer with all the double-decker ice cream in it. Don't tell him when he comes back, right? But lads, and Matt, I'll come to you first. Like, no league title since 1990. Okay, all right, we've come close on a couple of occasions, but this one we were absolutely romping. COVID-19 comes in; it's a worldwide pandemic. What can you do? But we are definitely 2 weeks away from Liverpool's first game back. It will be Everton. Venue to be confirmed apparently on the 21st of June. But we should be just enjoying this match, shouldn't we? We should be just regardless of the strange situation it's in, we should be reveling in this, man, for this 2 weeks that's coming up and every other game that goes beyond that. We should be all over this, shouldn't we?
I am.
Yeah.
If you're not, we've waited this long. If you're not, then football.
They're not the owner, right?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fucking loving it. I can't wait to win the league. Yeah, what more can we say? We've enjoyed it the whole way. We just had a little blip. This fucking COVID almost.
I was just gonna say the only thing that spoiled it is this COVID. Otherwise, we were in a proper frenzy, heightened frenzy. We were.
Do you know what? Don't worry about that. It will come back as soon as that ball's kicked around the pitch. It'll be all over.
But did you Jurgen's thing today that even if they wait till the 13th game of next season, we'll be having a parade? Do you know what I mean? So he won't be stopping that. He knows the game. He knows the score, and they're not going to stop the Liverpool celebrations for the 13th.
Oh, no. And we've got the perfect manager in terms of celebrations as well and getting mad. He's the maddest cunt manager ever to celebrate. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine the state of Klopp in the celebrations?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, Klopp is I think Klopp is determined to, regardless of when he can do it, I'll put it this way, he wants to sit on the back of a double-decker bus with a load of bottles or a load of cans and go through the streets of Liverpool. And I think he knows that if he can get that, it'll dwarf what you've seen last June.
We'll do it. We'll save it and do it when we can. But I feel sorry for the players and I feel sorry for Klopp because they've worked. Someone like Jordan Henderson's been through so much shit and he's given so much to this football club for this exact moment. Now, the only saving grace is they got it with the Champions League. So that helps a little bit, but I feel so sorry for players like him who've put everything into this club, and after 30 years to finally bring us the league, and there's this thing where we can't celebrate it. So we will wait until we can, and it'll be a fucking party that night.
It'll be the biggest. I've said it before. We know it as well. It's going to be the biggest party ever because of the weight, because of the extra weight for the tension, the drama of the COVID, and everything. Everyone thinks all opposition fans talking absolutely out of their arses when they say, "Oh, it's not going to mean it's going to be a damp squib, whatever."
Yeah.
When they see those pictures, of Liverpool packed to the rafters, because. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be. How many people were at the parade for the Champions League, lads? Anyone know?
3/4 of a million.
750, yeah.
And we're saying, are you trying to tell me there won't be 1 million plus for the league parade, whenever it is?
The opposition fans know they haven't got a point when they say that because how far ahead we are. But just imagine going through fucking COVID and we were only 1 point ahead. It would be fucking horrible, wouldn't it? Every day
we wouldn't be doing these podcasts. I can tell you that.
Cock of a walk.
I'd be sedated in the corner of a dark room.
I'd be grey and fucking not of it.
Stevie says he thinks we win it next season too. I absolutely agree with you.
That's a great point. It's a great point because they've used sort of in each of the last few seasons, they got beaten in the Champions League final, used it for the next season to win the Champions League, got pipped in the league, used it the next season, and the fear was, right, they've done 2 in a row and they might just hit the wall and take their foot off. But now they're being nearly robbed of their joy of winning it. And then
the thing with Klopp is, and I've said this for about 4 years now, whenever we get to a final, whenever we get to a final,
he said it to me, June 2016 it was.
Whenever we used to get nearly there, like under Rodgers and under Rafa, it felt like that was it. We were riding our luck.
Exactly.
Under Klopp, at every stage, it's always felt like a stepping stone.
Progression.
But when you drag that back, man, you feel like it's a stepping stone. You feel like it's built on a way more secure ground. You have to include FSG in that.
Yeah, of course. Well, of course, I love him. I'll suck John Henry off.
Jesus Christ! Sake, man.
For what? For a league title or a league title or a gent on Linda's yacht?
Fun on a Friday.
Unbelievable.
Pre-bills are entertainment, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah. But listen, lads, before we go, and people are saying like they'd be behind the sofa if we're only a point behind. The worst person I can think of if we were a point ahead going into the COVID would be Shane Davern, who spends Liverpool matches behind the sofa eating share bags of meanies. Yeah. So he would be in no state right now to be a Liverpool supporter. I don't think. I think he'd just knock her on the head if we're only a point ahead and have to wait 3 months to play our next game. But Keith, it is going to be different, you know. And listen, it might take 1 game, it might take 2 games, it could take 4 games. We don't know. No. But my bet is on 2 games anyway. Yeah. But it's going to be different, Keith. You see people and they're, you know, ordering smoke bombs and flags and all sorts of stuff. They go mental in their own way. Does it take out away for you? Because it doesn't for me.
It doesn't for me because I wasn't going to be at Anfield and anyway, do you know what I mean? So my personal right, I would have been in the pub maybe, but now we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? We'll all be in getting
we have a chance.
The old toasted Sambo and 15 points there, please, John. We'll be all on that buzz.
Nobody's buying field. We're just going to go in and not buy field and just drink.
That's it. I'm still waiting to decide what I want. Give us 2 points while we wait. If that's the case, if we get that, well, then there'll be no difference. Do you know what I mean? So I'll still celebrate and enjoy it. And I said this all along, it takes the monkey off our back, no matter what way we win it, that they can't use it. Oh, it's been this since you've won it, it's been that. Well, there you go, we've won it, we'll go again and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, people are worried that we'll get stopped again, so we need to get it one quickly, says Ray Dickinson. I can't
Don't be listening to that bag.
No, not people. He's worried. They'll get stopped again, not people.
Well, I'm going to get on to Matt Dicko now in a minute and tell her to sort him out. He does this while the football's on. He's been sound throughout the COVID, and now when football's starting to come back, he's all sort of conspiracy theory, and it shouldn't be happening.
He's just worried about winning the fancy football. That's all.
Yeah, the fancy football is absolutely tight, lads. When it comes to when it comes to the trippers, lads. Plus, I just found the league predictions or the season predictions from all the lads in my drawer here. Yeah, I found them, and I have to keep holding them until the season's over.
Give me mine and Chris's number 1 there.
No, I won't. Stephen O'Connor asks, just a quick answer, yes or no. Do you think we will get 100 points?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Yeah. Grizz? Definitely no. Definitely no. I knew it would
be. I think we're going to smash the arse off teams. I think no stadium, no fans in the stadium. I think
I said 98 points at the start of the season. And
no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You can't. You can't. Look, listen. I can't say this enough. He cannot remember.
You've got it written down, Gav.
You cannot remember your predictions for the season.
You've got it
and I'll tell you why. Let me explain why. Right? Because I sent you all the information as to what you needed to do. Okay?
Did you write it down?
Oh, I have it all written down beside me. It's in the drawer here beside me. But I sent you all the information. Okay? You read it. Decided you didn't understand it. Messaged Paddy Lawson to ask him, okay, what the story was. Paddy Lawson sent me his predictions, and yours rocked up about 10 minutes later, exactly the same as his, bar probably one thing, okay? So don't tell me what you predicted, okay? You copy and pasted Paddy Lawson. All right, okay?
Oh, have mercy.
That's what you've done. That's what you've done. Somebody said something there, and I don't understand what it means. Here. Gav, I put my hand and that was you. I don't know what that was. He lying in bed beside me last night or something? I don't know. But I don't know what that means, Avo, if you want to explain yourself. Right, quick one. Fake fan noises or not?
Keith?
Yes, get him on.
Are you all in for this,
weeks ago, Matt, didn't you? You said this weeks ago to get
I want the Everton fans to, I want to hear them go,
I must admit, but one thing, Keith, I don't know if Keith will know the answer, but anyone. But you know that the fake noises, they're only for TV, right?
Well, no one in the ground will hear them.
I'd imagine it's just for the TV. They're not pumping them out over the loudspeaker in the stadium.
I would like it over the tannoys in the stadium as well.
No, we don't need that. Klopp has got us training in an empty stadium, so we get used to it. Don't be worrying about the players. Worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Did the Bundesliga have it this weekend? Because Kieran said it made a massive difference.
Massive.
On the TV?
Yeah. They had the noises, the fake noises, yeah.
Did it actually get like cheering as they were getting closer to the goal and stuff?
Yeah.
Was it all proper?
It's proper.
They've been watching our show, I'm sure.
Shaq says, Gav, I put my hand up that you said we would get 98 points this season. I said I always go with 95. I think 95 is always a great bet.
I went for 104.
Yeah.
What's the max we can get?
109.
Well, I'll take that.
Okay. I think...
I like this new lad.
Well, Klopp done an interview with the Anfield Rat during the week, and he said that he's willing to go all out for as many wins as he possibly can. He's not worried about it because...
Yeah, Gavin, you were messaging me the other day saying you think the kids are going to come in. Not a possibility, not a chance.
No, and you know what? I thought he might do something where he might try stagger it to give them
Did you
some
listen
sort
to what I
of
said and then realise
pre-season.
how stupid you were?
No, I thought was...
The best way to
hold
prepare
on.
us for next season is to play them players, get them playing with each other.
I understand that, but I did think that when it comes to it, you have to think of their family time as well. Like, their family time at the moment now is just fucking sitting in the back garden looking at the kids that are wrecking your head. Let's be honest about it, whether you're footballers or not, that's what happens. What I was thinking was they might stagger a break for them to where they can get away and get a break and stuff like that and come back.
What will help?
He's aiming for the lot.
3 months break.
Yeah, but in his bleeding gaff, like,
No.
it's not like he
You've
can go
taken
out.
a Grizz tablet. You're talking bollocks.
No, I haven't taken a Grizz tablet. Okay, calm down.
Yeah, don't say
Psycho.
that.
Psycho. Lads, anything else before we go?
No.
Chris?
No.
Somebody commented earlier. Shawnee lost his Gav. Quick one. Shawnee, be quick. Let us know what you
Come
you
here,
want.
Shawnee.
Okay. Here we go. Come here to me. Who do we want to get the league winning goal? Keith first.
Bobby.
Matt.
Chan.
Chris.
It's got to be my man Bobby. Same as
Okay.
Keith. I like this new
absolutely.
lad.
Mine's Mane. He wants it more than anyone else.
Black
Yeah.
Lives Matter.
Oh, he's thrown it in at the end. I can't believe it. And I can't even edit it out. I can on the audio, but I'm not going to. Grizz is hiding behind his microphone in case any of his friends ring him. Mine would be, I'm with Avo on this. I think Henderson all day fucking long. Absolutely all day long. It'd be sensational. Lads, that has been the Fatback 4 Daily. It's just been the Fatback 4. It's been unbelievable. It's been a brilliant chat. We've got millions of comments in tonight. It's been unreal. People seem to enjoy basically all of us getting annoyed at each other. I think people have been annoyed by. And as a special treat, before we finish, Keith is going to play us out on the tin whistle.
What?
Don't tell me he's frozen.
Yeah, because we're doing the Trippers band, and I've learnt this.
Yeah.
No, not frozen. Right. I only know a little bit, so you're just going to have to take it,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
And that's all I have so far.
Is that it?
That's it.
There
only
is
got on
there is
Friday.
progress.
Okay.
I like
on
that.
Friday.
Done well.
Yeah,
What
like
was
that.
I was watching
What
the video. I
are
was
the-
going to do the next bit.
Well, what other tunes have you got?
Let's see. What else have we got?
Go on, give us a few more. Go on. Sure, the lads are only finishing off their cans.
Right.
He's been hearing this on YouTube.
Cunts will be signing on thinking they're listening to the fucking Blind Boy podcast.
I tell you.
Yeah.
If you have a lisp, can you still play the tin whistle? Oh, whopper.
There, that was EastEnders.
There you
for anyone
go.
that's,
There you go. Unbelievable.
Free
Unbelievable.
content.
Good lad.
Come here and I tell you,
Content.
there isn't a podcast out there that is playing you out with the tin whistle. I don't give two fucks what you say.
Keep it
It's absolutely not happening. Matt, it's been so enjoyable. You're just the business. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Grizz, that point that you were going to make and then forgot, it was the highlight for me. But brilliant yet again. Thanks a million.
Thanks, pal.
Good stuff. And Keith, Keith's like,
Oh no, that last bit. I can't get
That
that.
bit that dies at the end of my best.
do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
That's my best
Do you remember them Father's Head when they're trying to do the Eurovision song and Father's Head keeps saying, "I know
Hold
this
on,
bit.
I
Hold
have
on,
it,
I can
I
get
have it."
this," and he just keeps strumming on the guitar. I'd love to see Keith and Father's Head in the Caravan episode. I think it'd be absolutely unreal. Yeah, that's been it. If anybody wants any more Tin Whistle intros or outros, Keith is your man. Let us know, and we will try and incorporate them in the
Later,
show
boys.
as we go forward.
I
Boys,
know
that
the start of EastEnders, the start of Dirty Old Town, and I do know the start of Away in the Manger as well. So you know.
Oh well,
one
we'll
of
keep
them.
that for Christmas.
Yeah, keep it festive.
When Grizz is on, he doesn't
I'll
believe in
sing.
Christmas.
No, I'm going to sing "Away in the Manger" while you're playing it.
Do you remember you sang E17 because you lost the bet?
Yeah,
That was deadly, wasn't it?
I'm going to sing "Away in the Manger."
What song was it? Stay Another Day.
Grizz,
Yeah, not on
we're we're acting the maggot on YouTube, right? But we're getting up near 2,000 subscribers. Yeah, how I don't know, but we are. But come here and I ask you, if we get to 2,000, what song would you be willing to sing?
I think I'm going to sing a Bollywood Indian classic.
Right. I was thinking, would you not sing Lady in Red?
No. I could sing Lady in Red. I like that.
Oh no, Shawnee has it. You sing The Bells Are Ringing.
That's the one. That's the one. I've got to learn the words, but I love it. It's my favourite song.
It's my favourite song. Doesn't know the words, doesn't know the name of it, but yeah.
I'm prepared to learn that. I'm prepared. Could you play the bagpipes to that? Where have you played?
That's a tin whistle.
I can play anything on the thing.
The bagpipes. I'd give anything for Keith to be standing in his sitting room playing the bagpipes.
If you can play that, The Bells Are Ringing with your bagpipes, what a combination that will be.
Yeah, okay.
Christmas special. We've got to get that done by Christmas.
Okay, lads, subscribers are dropping as we speak. So let's get out of here. We never get to that 2,000. We'll never see Keith with his bagpipes, also known as a tin whistle, and Grizz singing the fairy tale in New York, but he calls it The Bells Are Ringing. But it's his favourite song. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.